Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, we are excited to have John Lewis with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here with both of you, Ann and Heather.
Yeah, fantastic. And you are an amazing singer-songwriter, and you have just a couple of songs they're not new songs, they're sort of renewed songs that you have that have just come out in the last month or so.
That's right. Yeah. Two singles. And they're both songs that I recorded on my live record from a couple of years back. And these were two of the 12 or so on that record that I realized I really want to get studio versions, full band, the whole treatment. And so had an opportunity to do that, and super excited to have them out to the world now.
Nice. They're fantastic versions. They're interesting songs. They're interesting songs, and I'm gonna say this because I think that from what I've read and what I've seen of you before is you seem to get inspiration from lots of different places. But it was actually, and I think it was a song off the earlier album, Heart Uncrossed, that had a line about when does a marriage become like a country song?
Yeah.
And I feel like these two songs kind of exemplify that.
Yeah, there's some of that for sure. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, my inspiration comes from a lot of different places. Some of it's, my story, some of it's friends' stories, some of it's, strangers in the booth behind me in the bar, or whatnot. Sometimes the life of a songwriter is about observation and kind of clinging to a line or an idea that really just becomes inspiration for a story and a character and everything else.
Well, and I think the imagery of the songs, I think of Shutdown in particular.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it almost you can see the movie screen of it as I hear it.
Nice. Good.
I was gonna pipe in there when you just said movie screen, because that song reminded me of the character of the new version, A Star Is Born.
Oh yeah.
Jackson. Yeah. Come on, that had to be some inspiration. I was like, here it is. I'm hearing it.
Well, yeah. Who is that? Bradley? I can't remember his name, but yeah, right.
Yeah, Really Ugly Bradley. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. No, I mean that song I did write. Like I said, a few years back, it was on my 2018 live record. And again, that live record, which I love, was kind of, I mean, that was just me and the guitar. It was kind of inspired by my favorite Townes Van Zandt record, which was just him and his guitar and a few bad jokes. And I actually reproduced a couple of his bad jokes on that live record from 2018. But yeah, so that song does predate A Star Is Born, but it's certainly well, the latest version of A Star Is Born, it predates, but it certainly is right in that theme, absolutely. So yeah, and that song, that was one where I felt like when I wrote it, I thought, I can't play this song out in public. It felt a little too stark and a little too brutal in some ways. But I played it for some songwriter friends, and I remember going to Folk Alliance conference in Iowa and played it to some pretty amazing songwriters there, and they convinced me that one's got something and should be out in the world. So there it is.
I love it. I mean, it's dark. We're not going to pretend like it's not a dark song. There's something so comforting about a song that's regular world dark right now, as we're hopefully at the tail end of the pandemic. Because I'm like, oh, imagine not knowing where your car was last night in a sadly wistful way. And I feel like I have to preface this with like, I've never woken up like that. I don't think it would really be a good thing. But in the middle of the pandemic, you just miss oh,
Yeah.
we were probably with people last night. I'm so jealous,
No, that's, yeah, absolutely. I hadn't thought of that, but that's a great point. I mean, right now, yeah, I mean, as you said, nobody should wake up like that, but kind of wish we could go back to.
Well, when that was our biggest worry. And again, I don't mean to belittle that would happen. And then you got really a great team to kind of to make these full band sound.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was super excited about the crew that we pulled together for this. So, I had kind of gotten to know Shane Leonard a little bit personally and a little bit, more by reputation and by the work that he had done. He's been producing a lot of great records from his studio in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, which is where he's from. And yeah, last summer I got in touch with him and talked about doing these. It was still, I guess, early COVID at that point, but yeah, he was starting to do some recording and mostly remote recording, and that's generally what we did here. But he really pulled together the musicians to play on this thing, and I was super happy with everyone that's involved. I knew Siri Unlin Humbird, who is singing backing vocals on both these songs, from just seeing her out playing music, and got to know her a little bit as well. But Shane had been working, I think, on some records with her kind of at the same time, and thought she'd be a good fit on this. And then the pedal steel player, Ben Lester, is just phenomenal, and he played some keyboard stuff. I think Mellotron and Wurlitzer as well.
That's great.
On these songs. But he's in Eau Claire as well, and then Jeremy Betcher was the bass player, another Eau Claire friend of Shane's. And so basically, that was kind of the crew for both songs. And then on Gone Too Far, we also had Sam Cassier play keyboards. Sam's actually out in Maine. He has his own studio there, and he produces a lot of great records as well, and does a lot of recording. But he added his parts remotely from, I guess, 1,500 miles away or whatever it is. Yeah, it really all came together well. I mean, to me, it sounds like we were all in the same room, to some degree.
Absolutely.
But
what a contrast to go from live at the Warming House to all remote.
Yeah. It was really, it was a very different feel. And, in the record, I mean, I recorded a few years before as well, with Mark Stockard at Underwood Studios here in town. And that was a more traditional, in the studio with a bunch of the musicians at once, and so really that was probably the bigger contrast, I guess. The Live at the Warming House, though, I mean, it was truly a live recorded record. I had, audience and just two mics, and and that's what captured that. But so yeah, kind of going into this now where it was layered and done from thousands of miles, in some cases apart. It's a very different experience.
I'm always looking for the COVID silver linings. What were the benefits? Were you surprised by anything that seemed like it went better, smoother, right? This new way of doing it.
It's hard to say. I mean, I think in some ways, I guess, probably a couple different things. Like one, when we did this, I went to Eau Claire, and it was just Shane and I, spent a day just kind of talking about the songs for quite a bit of the time, and then, trying some different things, and basically just got down the basic guitar and vocal tracks. So just, he and I doing that part. Then it was really like I went home, and he arranged to bring other people in isolation because of COVID. In normal times, I would have probably hung out and, listened to them lay down the other pieces. But so in a way, it kind of forced me to be a little more hands off on, what developed there, and gave Shane and Ben and Jeremy and Siri all, more space to kind of just work with Shane on different ideas and different things without the writer there trying to tell them they're doing it wrong or doing something else or whatnot. So I think that probably, resulted in, potentially them taking more chances and trying different things that might not have tried with me in the room. Hard to say.
Did it come out the way you kind of had it in your head while you were doing it, or did it blow it out of the water and it was even better than you had anticipated just because of the chances they took?
A little of both. I mean, I think Shutdown kind of came out closer to what had been in my mind from the start. I think with Gone Too Far, especially the way the backing vocals were, really it wasn't so much just like harmony vocals. It was almost as a duet to some degree, with what Siri did, and that was a surprise to me, but I loved it when as soon as I heard it. So, I think if I'd been in the room, I probably would have been pushing for more just kind of close harmony type of traditional kind of Emmylou Harris sort of harmonies. But I love what turned out there. So
your voices together like that, I think really it's like when someone who has blue eyes wears a blue shirt. There's just something that makes both the voices pop all the more. It's a great sound.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like the way her vocals were added on that song, especially, it kind of, it added her voice as almost another. It is almost duet-like, but it's kind of it expands the story a little bit, or possibilities for the story, I think, in my head. So,
I was going to say, you had the tone, or what it brought me to Kenny Rogers on that song. My mom put Kenny Rogers on all the time, and right away when I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Well, that's,
I-
I'll take that. I'll take
yeah,
that.
I was
Yeah,
like,
great voice. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. No, you're talking to the girl that listened to him especially on the weekends. But I love the lyric in that one where it's something a fist in the wall,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
a hole in the wall
Hole in the
from a
drywall.
fist
Yeah,
shaped like a heart.
Shape in the heart.
What?
yeah. Thanks. Yeah. That one, that lyric, definitely people seem to be drawn to that imagery. So not sure where that came from exactly, but it, yeah, no, I'm proud of that.
No, yeah, that's a very good storytelling line right there,
Thank you.
for sure. And especially like you said, when you have both of your vocals in there, it does guide you more through your story of song. Yeah, both the songs are excellent. Excellent story, like movies in everybody's head, I'm thinking.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I really, I mean, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but for me, it's just great to hear series vocals. I mean, you're like, it feels like you're hearing, a different thought stream kind of in some ways. So
Kind of the two sides of the story. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, which I think is always it. I mean, every story has at least two sides.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and very often you just hear the one in a song.
Right. Yeah. No, it really worked out well, and yeah, and I'm super hopeful that someday I can get the whole crew together someday to at least hang out in the same room, if not play the
We're
song.
hoping you'll play. I mean, so we'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
But you guys created a video for Gone Too Far as well.
Yeah, and that's that is still under wraps mostly, but hoping to release that sometime in May. And yeah, I ended up that's another Eau Claire connection, I guess, because that was Eric and Sarah Elstrand. Sarah is the nunnery, and Eric is does a lot of video production and kind of sound, or I don't know, like video effect kind of stuff with the nunnery too, like plays.
Sure. Oh, it's amazing to see him do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've known them a bit over the last few years, got to know them, through performances and they've hosted the Pony Rug series, which is just fabulous. And, them along with Michael Gay, but, so yeah, I ended up working with them on a video for Gone Too Far, and they put that together kind of over the winter here, and just wanted to get both singles out, give them a little room to breathe first, and then get the video out as well. So.
Well, and I don't want to give away the video, but what I like any video that gives glimpses of where I spend my time going, wonder if I've been there, and it doesn't have to be from Minneapolis. It could be from a town I've never been to. I wonder if I've seen that. I just think that, as I said, even if some city, Omaha, someplace I've never been, I was like, ooh, that looks just like, there's something that brings it on home.
Yeah, no, and I felt the same way actually with that video. Like, yeah, there are scenes where it's like, I feel like I've been there, even though I bet I haven't. But
yeah, we won't give it away. We'll attempt, whet people's appetite with just that information. But that's, but how much fun to do a video. I mean, I think it's really well done. I think folks are really going to like it, and Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's my first foray into kind of doing an official video, I guess. I've, done some live videos more or less, but yeah, I thought it'd be nice to get this out there. So
Was that something you were looking forward to doing, or did you find yourself in the middle of Eau Claire and they were giving you so many ideas? You said, "Oh, okay, I'll do a video."
no, I really did want to do it. And in part it felt like, I guess this is another silver lining of
Mhm.
COVID, but it felt like this is something that I can do in collaboration with other creative people in a safe safe manner. So um, yeah, yeah, it just felt like a natural progression of the different things I was doing with these singles. So
That's great. That's great. Now,
but,
are you looking at redoing any of the other songs from the 2018 album?
I probably will, maybe another handful of them. I'm definitely not going to do everything on that album, but uh, at least probably three or four of them at some point. Um, I've also written quite a few new ones since that time, um, and I'd like to. So yeah, I need to figure out how I want to move forward, and I'm kind of feeling like in the next 6 to 9 months, it might be easier to go back to more traditional
Mhm.
recording. Um, whether I want to or not, I still haven't decided, but um, because I like the way we did this recording as well.
That's
But
great. I think for sure this will change how anybody who's recorded music in the last year, that experience I think will change how they do things moving forward. Whether it's a first run in a studio with everybody and then knowing you can build upon it later or not. I mean, I just think it's one of those things that's going to be around with us.
yeah,
Maybe not for every album or for every song, but moving forward.
I think you're right, and I mean, one of the cool things, I mean, like having, I mean, Sam Cassier, the guy, playing keyboards from Maine. I mean, that's just a example of just how much it's opened up the ability to kind of record with anyone anywhere, and have it sound pretty darn good still.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, I know fabulous musicians all across the country and Canada, and that I probably couldn't afford to fly him here for a week to to do some recording, but I could certainly get them tracks and get them to lay some parts down, and so we'll see. Yeah.
It's it's funny because I mean, yes, that would be awesome, and it opens the doors open, as you say, to so many different more partnerships. And then there's the part of us that have been inside for the last, or sort of semi-sequestered, quarantined for so much of the last year. You go, well, that doesn't sound like much fun for you.
Right. No, I know, and I could. I mean, I'm thinking more hybrid. Like
Yeah.
I'll get into the studio with, kind of the core musicians, but then can get, you know, a accordion player from New Orleans to do a part
Nice.
on a song, or whatnot. So who
Nice.
knows?
Nice. Now, you say you've had newer songs. Have you been writing during the pandemic or?
I have. It's been hard for me during the pandemic, and I still talk regularly with a lot of different musicians, and for some, I think most of the musicians that I know, it's similarly been tough. I think it's gotten a little easier in the last few months for some people, but I feel like that first part, this first 8, 9, 10 months where it's just kind of a dry period for a lot of us. So, but I was forcing myself to still write, you know, at least keep those muscles working a little bit. And I think there's, you know, a few songs that I really like that I got out of that, but I've got to buckle down and get to work. I actually, I've been co-writing a little bit more than I have in the past, and that's maybe another silver lining of COVID, where you know, I have a friend in Nashville who she co-writes like regularly in kind of the Nashville style of where
Yeah.
you know, you make appointments with your friends around town and you go, or with other writers around town, and you go spend 4 hours, you know, and try to crank out a song. And, you know, if you get something great. If you don't, maybe you finish it up, you know, the next week or whatnot. And now, you know, she's been doing that even within Nashville by Zoom. And so kind of opened up the opportunity for us to write that way together as well. So, so yeah, just yesterday we finished up a song that I think is a pretty solid one. So be excited to get that going as well. But anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say you're involved in a lot of songwriting festivals and what, like when you are co-writing, do you think that's going to help branch you out a little bit more just because you kind of take on somebody else's style or verbiage and then it kind of gives you other branches yourself? Or
Yeah, I think that's definitely kind of what I'm hoping for. You know, it's I haven't done much co-writing, and I know, you know, some people that's almost all they do is co-write. But I think you know, when you co-write with somebody, then you're both out there, you know, once you've got a song, you know, you're both doing whatever you do to try to make that song successful in the world, however that looks. And I think it just kind of increases the chances that luck will come about, and you know, somebody will decide, hey, that's a song that deserves a lot more attention, or you know, that somebody decides they want to cover, and they happen to be somebody big that, you know, sets you up for for a little while. So I mean, I think it's for me mostly it's the, you know, the benefit is kind of that creative collaboration and having the ability to bounce ideas off someone and maybe, you know, kind of working off each other's strengths to maybe create something that neither of us would have on our own. But yeah, I think it definitely can lead to new opportunities as well, and kind of new streams of listeners, or you know, just chances of doing something more.
I would just be happy with a 4-hour visit with somebody over Zoom that I like to talk to.
Yeah,
Or
great. Yeah, that was a pleasure too. I mean, that definitely, you know, I mean, we definitely, you know, it's a working time together, but it also is just, it is pleasant to just hang out with somebody that you don't get a chance to see now. I can't travel around and whatnot. So, yeah.
I'd like to be a fly in the wall in that Zoom, because
Yeah.
it's just, it would be so interesting to me to see how that works.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I haven't done a ton of co-writing, and so I was learning a bit from her, kind of letting her take the lead on how we go about it. But um, it's a pretty was a pretty natural process. I mean, really, generally we just started bouncing ideas off the wall about, kind of titles or lines until something just kind of grabbed us both and thought, hey, we could probably work something up based on that idea. And then it was just, yeah, it kind of flows from there. So
That would be cool. I mean, I don't always collaborate that well in my work world.
Well, and I was kind of trying to push myself into a little bit of a area I'm not super comfortable with, because I mean, it definitely can get in a rut, if you're just, doing the same thing and trying to write. And so, especially now, in this period where it felt a little like a low period for, writing wise, this definitely added a spark and some creativity. So.
Well, I was going to say, especially if you were saying that you listen to people's stories or whatever and you get inspiration, now you kind of want to be in people's Zooms and hear what they're talking about so you can oh, that one's good or that one's good, because that does limit to your writing if you're not out and about and soaking up.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, that it really is like kind of being out in the world and experiencing life kind of, is kind of crucial for, material, I guess. So.
Yeah, because there's not much connection when, you have your mask on, you can't touch, you don't really even look at people.
Right.
So it creates, a lot of disconnect. That's why the music is so important.
Yeah.
Normal, but even more so for us, I would say, for Ann and I, we are starving,
Well, yeah, it is nice to see there's, some opportunities for hearing music on the horizon now. So some of the outdoor shows that are coming up as the weather warms up.
Well, and that's a nice segue because I hear Palmer's has got some good shows coming up.
They do. They've got a lot of good shows coming up, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to be playing one there. So, yeah, Sarah Morris and I are doing a show together. I guess it's Sunday, the 23rd of May, and we're doing a matinee show. It's a 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock show, which I'm actually pretty excited about. Hopefully there'll be some sunshine and, just kind of a nice, relaxing Sunday afternoon show. I haven't been to a lot of Sunday afternoon shows over the years, but I think of the 331.
I was just going to say the 331 Mickles deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Mickle and crew, yeah. And that's, so yeah, this is kind of in that vein a little bit. But yeah, Sarah and I was
going to say Sarah could bring her kids, and then I thought, well, she's probably not bringing them to Palmer's.
Probably not. But I think the hot dog place down the block there is going to be open, and so there's things for kids.
Well, and that patio is, if someone hasn't been there, it's really a gorgeous patio.
It really is. Yeah, it's a nice, there's a canopy of trees all over, and it's kind of multi-level wooden decks a little bit, and they're going to do. It seems like they're really committed to very COVID safe precautions. It's going to be limited to, I think 60 is the total capacity that they're going to allow back there. Um, they're selling individual tickets, but also they're trying to sell them in like table groups as well. And, they're hoping that they'll, you know,
That's a good way to
get
do
kind
it.
of bubbles together for, for that. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm still a little nervous to be getting out into the world playing, and I really don't want to encourage anyone to go out if they're still feeling unsafe about the whole experience. But for those that are vaccinated and feeling all right about it,
Well, I think as of last week, I remember it was 36% of Minnesota adults had both shots and 51% had one. So
yeah, that's great. It's really moving in the right direction. So,
yeah, that's. I think it'll be a fun show. Although I have a feeling that if you get out of your seat, you might end up on the Palmer's wall of people who have been 86th. Like, only it'll read like my kindergarten report card. 86th, talking to her neighbors too much.
Yeah, well, there's some honor in being on the Palmer's wall, I guess. A legend, anyway.
A distinct honor. Yes. That's fantastic. Well, I think that's going to be an. Do you plan to play any of your new music at that show, or are you gonna? Hopefully, you'll be playing obviously the 2 new singles.
Yeah. No, I'll be playing. I'll definitely be playing some brand new songs, but yeah, I'll be playing the singles as well. But yeah, I would guess, I think Sarah and I are each going to do about 60 minutes worth of music, and so I'm guessing I'll play, half a dozen of my kind of old favorites and the singles, and probably 4 or 5 of the unrecorded new ones that people haven't heard yet, and maybe mix a cover or 2 in there as well. Maybe a Kenny Rogers song, now that you put that in my head. I actually used to cover Lucille, Trying Time to Leave Me, Lucille. But
yes, I have an old car and I named her Lucille, so you're making my night here.
Well, come to Palmer's if you feel safe,
Yep. No, I'll be fully vaccinated then, so yes.
Excellent.
You can drive Lucille there. That would be
I know.
Nice. She's got a really nice old car.
What kind of car is it?
It's a old Mercedes.
Nice.
Yeah. It looks like a Lucille, so yeah. It's not a hot rod or anything, but it's like a driving Miss Daisy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. I might have to drive Lucille to come see you. Might have to happen.
There's some conversations on the West Bank there. Like, be fun. That would be awesome.
I'm definitely gonna put that in the set list then. So.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. Well, that's fantastic. Well, that gives us something to look forward to, and we can look forward to when do you know when the video is coming out?
I don't have a firm date yet. I do think it'll be sometime in May. Yeah. So, not too far out here, but.
Perfect. John, for folks who are listening, tell, and I will put this in the notes, but tell people where they can find you online.
Sure. My website is johnlewissongs.com. www, of course. But so yeah, johnlewissongs.com, and there's links at the bottom to all my Spotify and web, or Instagram and
all
Facebook,
the
places,
all the channels.
So, and I'm really getting into Bandcamp these days, because they've been doing some great musician friendly things, with their No Fee Friday or First Friday things that they're doing, and so I might be, I guess that's another place. I'm definitely on Bandcamp, so and you can get to my Bandcamp site either from my webpage or by searching me on
Search on
Bandcamp.
that.
So,
Nice, nice.
but,
Well, and it's fun to listen to the two versions of the two songs.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and they're definitely a little bit different, right? I mean, you can see the evolution that happened
Yeah.
with. So,
It's not like looking at there was a show of Picasso, Je suis la calle, where they went from his original picture where it looked like a woman sitting in a blue chair to the final product where you had no idea what that was.
that's not quite that dramatic.
No, not at all. No, I think it's very fun. It's fun to hear what the difference is. It's, and it's, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I mean, they're both great versions. It just depends what you're in the mood for,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So I encourage people to take a look at the website. Head out on Palmer's. I hope you get a beautiful day for that.
Thanks. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Spend a Sunday afternoon. Tell your family you're going to church. Go to Palmer's.
There you go.
To
Yeah.
live music. The date. It's a date helped everyone out there. So, John, thank you so much for spending time with us. This was great.
Yeah, this was really, really awesome. Thank you both. It's always nice. I mean, these opportunities to actually hang out with people a little bit. So
I know it is. It's been our savior. So yeah.
Well, thanks both of you for what you're doing and helping musicians kind of stay out there in the public eye a little bit, and really appreciate all the work you're doing here.
You're welcome.